Now, from your local news leader, this is 6 News.
Dealing with an expanding recall list and bruised reputation, General Motors makes a move to restore consumer confidence. The announcement of a new safety chief is our top story at noon. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. I'm Siobhan Klepfer. So far, more than 3 million GM vehicles have been recalled because of faulty ignition switches that have been linked to more than a dozen deaths. The most recent recall happened Monday to include SUVs, smaller commercial vans, and Cadillac sedans. Well, today, CEO Mary Barra announced a new position to the company to put one man in charge of recalls and vehicle safety issues. The company appointed Jeff Boyer to the job. He's a 40-year GM engineer and will now serve as the point man for the handling of recalls, development of safety systems, and the safety of cars after they're sold. GM allegedly knew about the ignition switch problem 11 years ago, but failed to issue any recalls until just last month. 2 congressional committees and the Justice Department are investigating the car company's behavior. For a full, up-to-date list of all vehicles included in the recall, head to WLNS.com and click on the See on 6 icon at the top of the page. And 6 News reporter Shelby Miller is working this story today. She'll have more on how this will affect the car company long-term tonight on 6 News at 5 and 6. Well, if you happen to be hitting the road today, you'll notice as soon as you step outside a significant difference in the temperature. Jim, I'll even go so far as to say it's shaping up to be a pretty nice day.
Well, it certainly is. It's mostly sunny now, just a few high clouds, and we're already above freezing in most of mid-Michigan. A live look from our tower cam looking out toward East Lansing, Saginaw Street there, and everyone's moving along just fine at this time under the mostly sunny skies. There are a few clouds to our west, and those will slowly head our way as we go through the afternoon, especially overnight. Temperatures are in the mid to upper 30s right now, 37 in Lansing, 38 in Jackson, it's 37 in Howell and Owasso. As we go through the rest of the day, a gradual increase in the cloudiness as temperatures climb into the low and mid 40s later on this afternoon. I'll be back with the complete forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Jim, thank you. Looking overseas now, there's more evidence this afternoon that the pilot or co-pilot may have played a critical role in the disappearance of a Malaysian jetliner. U.S. officials say a computer system had been pre-programmed to turn the plane off course. Seth Doan asked Malaysian officials about the report today.
That report in the New York Times, citing U.S. officials, raised the possibility that the planes turned west might have been pre-entered into an onboard computer, possibly even before the plane took off. Was the plane's path, a westward direction, programmed into the aircraft's flight management system?
As far as we're concerned, the aircraft was programmed to fly to Beijing.
Is it plausible? Is it something you're considering?
Once you're in the aircraft, anything is possible.
One of the other issues raised in the press briefing was that this is not just a massive logistical effort, but it's also a massive diplomatic effort too, as so many more countries have gotten involved in this search. We spoke with one of the pilot's friends earlier today who told us that the stress is mounting.
We want answers. If this is what I'm going through, imagine the families.
In China, family members of passengers have demanded answers and said that they were threatening a hunger strike if Malaysian authorities didn't get them answers soon. Meanwhile, China has said it will deploy 21 satellites to help refine the search. Seth Doan, CBS News, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia.
And the missing airline is also the topic of our 6 News Daily Poll today. We want to know if you think the plane will ever be found. Will this mystery be solved? To vote in the poll, and please do visit our website again. This time click on the 6 This Morning icon right there at the top, and we will share those results coming up at the end of the show. Another international story that we're keeping a close eye on today is the conflict in Ukraine. Crimea is now even closer to becoming part of Russia after President Vladimir Putin signed a controversial agreement in Moscow. Despite threats of even more sanctions, Putin signed a decree calling for the Ukrainian peninsula to be Russian territory. U.S. Vice President Joe Biden condemned the action, saying the world sees right through Russia's actions. But Putin says more sanctions will be seen as an act of aggression and is promising that Moscow will retaliate. Back here at home, a federal judge has sentenced this man, 43-year-old Todd White, to 15 years in prison after pleading guilty to robbing a bank in Williamston back in May of last year. According to our media partners at WHMI, White was also sentenced by a judge in Livingston County to 35 to 60 years in prison for 2 other bank robberies in Brighton. Those also happened in March and April of 2013. MSU students are back in the classroom this afternoon after 5 buildings were evacuated on campus because of a potential gas leak. It happened around 9 this morning. East Lansing fire officials say they received complaints of a natural gas smell near the main library and administration building. As it turned out, a chemical bottle had tipped over in a fume hood inside of the chemistry building. Officials say the fume hood vented and caused the non-hazardous odor to spread. Well, it may be the day after St. Patrick's Day, but do you still feel lucky? Tonight's Mega Millions jackpot is a big one. It's estimated at $400 million. It only costs $1 to play, so if you're thinking about the odds, yeah, they're not good, about 1 in 250 million, but you can't win if you don't play. So best of luck to you. All right, still to come on 6 News at noon, we'll introduce you to an author traveling across America hoping to make reading fun. And she's bringing an incentive with her worth thousands of dollars. Then later, meteorologist Jim Geyer is back, this time with your complete Storm Tracker 6 forecast.